No desire to return. So, I'm a grandmother, and a lot of people say that the best thing about being a grandparent is you get all the benefits of parenting and none of the drawbacks because you're the grandparent, not the parent. And I was thinking that there's some similarities between that and being divorced or being single after you've been in a relationship. Because there are times when people who were married or people who were in a relationship end the relationship and then they remain cordial. It could be for the kids, it could be for a business proposition. Maybe they opened a business together. It could be just because they realized they were better off friends than they were romantic partners. But there's no desire to return. And sometimes in that return to friendship, you get the grandparent experience in the form of a relationship. You get many of the perks of the relationship with none of the cons of the relationship. You may get advice. You may get support emotionally. You may get a laugh or two when, there's some private joke that you guys share that you may reminisce about. You may get to share certain experiences like seeing your kids graduate or seeing your kids get married or seeing your grandchild be born or a baby shower. And you get to share that with that person that is the other half, of that DNA package that is shown in that child. But you don't have to deal with any of the arguments or the stresses or the extra workload or any of the BS that comes with a relationship. And so I was thinking about that when I was thinking about a comment that a guy made. I post Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sometimes during the week, but mostly on the weekends. And there's always some guy commenting, that's why you're single, that's why whatever. And I'm always laughing because of course I'm single by choice. And being divorced, as I said, it's the grandparent experience. I didn't have to give up going through and sharing some of those milestones with my ex. Having conversations with my ex. I didn't have to give that up because we were divorced, because there was still connections that we had because of kids, because of other things, whatever. But the point is, even in my relationships where I wasn't married, I used to think that it was absolutely normal to be friends with your exes. In fact, up until recently, I had been friends with all of my exes, if not, in real life on Facebook. We were friends. And within the last several years, some of that has fallen away and I'm not in touch with very many of them anymore. But that was a norm to me, that when you parted, you didn't have to part hating each other in a sense, wishing each other evil. I didn't see any reason why it had to be like that, right? So once again, it is amusing to me that people who don't know anything about me just assume so many things. Or some men assume so many things about women, you know, because why assume when you have no idea what that person's life is, what kind of connections that person has? Everyone doesn't have the same type of relationship. Everyone doesn't have the same type of breakup. Everyone doesn't have the same type of bond. So to assume certain things to me is just kind of foolish. And the longer that I've lived, the more that I have realized how blessed I am to have experienced some of the relationships that I've experienced, and to still have some of my exes to where we send each other a birthday meme, you know what I mean, on social media, or just drop each other a line from time to time to say, hey, I saw something you did, or I thought about you. I hope everything is going great. People are people, and just because a relationship ended doesn't mean that you don't wish that person well, that you don't think about them from time to time and, just send some positive vibes their way. At least for me, it doesn't mean that. And so to me, sometimes being divorced or being single is the grandparent experience. It has a lot of the perks without any of the drawbacks. And I love the fact that I have such beautiful memories of my relationships. I have such beautiful mementos. I actually can look around my house and I still have things that were given to me by people that I loved at one time. And those things still bring me joy. Because one of the things, I haven't had the, how could I say, the experience of getting a tremendous amount of gifts from people. But the gifts that I did get were very thoughtful and they were very attuned to me. And so I still have a lot of those things and I still see them on a daily basis. And that's a blessing. May you walk in Zenergy. No desire to return. So I'm a grandmother, and a lot of people say that the best thing about being a grandparent is you get